Adam, you're a great guy at breaking things down to the most fundamental movements. You know, some instructors just teach do A, do B, do C, and then that's it. But you go to a deeper level, and like on your side control escape series, you had some great things. So hopefully you can get into a little bit of that today.
You know, on the basically escaping side mount, one of the claims that I made that I believe in is if you're flat on your back, you're gonna feel the maximum of your opponent's pressure. Just by turning to your side, you'll feel a tremendous amount of relief. He's not gonna feel as heavy. That's a big part of this material, was fighting to get to your side. When you get to your side, you're alive. If you're on your back, you're flat, you're dead. You know, so getting to your side, it's not only gonna alleviate pressure, but getting to your side, you're gonna have access to stability, mobility. This is a principle that I feel is has been super helpful for me. Let's take a quick look at this. I feel that in order for my hips to move, I have to lean on a source of stability. So take a look here. If I'm on my side, now I have my shoulder. And I can use that shoulder. If I lean on that shoulder, it can help me make some space. I can move my hips. But that's not the only way of moving. If I lean on that shoulder, it can also help me transition to another position, maybe even stand up. So I have my shoulder, but I also have access to my elbow. This is my second source of stability. I have my shoulder, have my elbow. Again, from here, I can move my hips. If I need to defend a guard passer, I can also use that source of stability to transition to my knees or to my feet. Shoulder, elbow, and also a hand. Sometimes I'm gonna use my hand to disengage, to make space, to even start standing up. In order to move my hips efficiently, I need a source of stability. Let's just take a look at a couple positions where we might see this. You know, let's take a look at from the half guard. Let's say I'm playing in like a classical half guard here, and one popular sweep that I like entails me getting to my elbow. I'm about to move my hips. I'm gonna try to change this position. I have to move. I can't be that dead cockroach how I was when I first started training. You know, I have to move. So when I lean on this, it makes my hips lighter. Now I can move my hips. Now I can start to threaten the position to begin my movement. Another example of using the elbow is if I were to take your back, Jake, here. Sometimes you'll see you lose this back position. Maybe the person starts turning into you, and if I don't know how to move my hips, sometimes that causes me to lose the position. Now, I'm not trying to break down the technique behind winning this transition. I'm just trying to point out that again, in order to move my hips, I have to lean on something. My elbow, my shoulder, my hand. So from here, when I'm losing this position, my number one priority is to prepare myself to move, and I have to get something to lean on. I'll lean on my elbow. Now I can move my hips and win that transition. And this can be like countless scenarios, you know. If you have to move your hips, you have to lean on something. The only other form of mobility that I've recognized that kind of, besides these three, there's one more, you know, just in case I'm missing another one, feel free to send me an email, reach out to me and enlighten me. But I can move my hips sometimes if the person is, you know, if I use my opponent's pressure. You know, like if he's standing and he's coming, I can pivot on the top of my back. That's another way of moving my hips. But those are the only ones that I've come across. Training 15 years, that's what I've noticed. I need to move my hips. I'm either going to use it by connecting to my opponent somehow with my legs and using his energy to pivot on my back, or I'm going to have to get to my side and rely on my shoulder, my elbow, or my hand to get those hips moving. One last thing. When you're using the elbow, sometimes you get stuck, you get jammed. You know, like right now, my elbow is like this, and I try to get on my elbow. I almost feel like that is stopping me, you know? My elbow is kind of like stopping me from sitting up. So I noticed like bringing my elbow wide helps me prop up consistently. I don't have many problems getting to my elbow when I follow this direction, you know? The other one would be sometimes I have my elbow in and I can get to it, you know? Maybe I'm trying to get away to a belly down and boom, pop up to my elbow. So getting to the elbow, to access the elbow, I keep it in at one extreme or I open it wide to the other extreme. I've personally felt a lot of congestion, you know, in the middle, making it hard to get to my elbow. But again, when it's time to move, when you gotta go, you gotta lean on something. You need a support system. Your shoulder, elbow, or hand.
Wow, so that was a lot of information, Adam. If I was just to check and see if I understand this, our hips are our core, and there's a lot of weight there. No matter if you're a big guy or a small guy, that's where a lot of our weight is centered, and it's hard to move all that weight. So you need to balance that. You need to push off on something just to raise your hips a little bit. Even during the shrimp exercise, you couldn't see your hips raising up, but you're posting off on your foot just ever so slightly, raising your hips just a little bit so you can get that mobility.
Yeah.
And during our chat, we talked about learning, learning the open guard and how that can help you passing. If I know what you need to play open guard, I know how I can defeat that to pass. So if we go back and if it's your job to move your hips to improve your position, and I know that, now I'm not going to let you use your elbow or use your shoulder. So if I can secure a grip here, now if you try to move your hips, you're going to have a hard time doing that, right? So I'm just basically taking the information you just gave me and using it for the top guy. So
it's the perfect yin and yang. Right? You'll notice like these good guys, they're attacking your posture, they're attacking your structure, they're taking away the tools that you need. You know, one of my favorite training partners, Clark Gracie, on that topic, you know, what I noticed, if you can come here, Jake, and you'll see people do this. Like, let's say we're kind of in a scramble situation and you do pop up to your elbow. This is a form of movement. But you'll see some people, they will attack that. Now this is becoming pretty popular, you know. Once you post in the elbow, they jump for like a remote rolling Kimura trap. So that's not gonna make me stop using my elbow, but I have to be aware. You know, everything we do can, like I talk on the DVD, I use a lot of the underhook. Some people don't use the underhook because they say you're gonna get Darce choked or you're gonna get head and arm. Some people don't leave their house because they think they're gonna get killed. You know what I mean? So everything can be used for me or against me.
Right. But you got to be aware of it first of all, and I think you've illuminated a really important principle of hip movement from the bottom. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
If people want to find out more about you, where can they find you online?
If you're in Chicago, come be my guest. Come train with us whenever you're in the city. You're more than welcome. Just tell them you're Adam's friend. And Chicago Jiu Jitsu, ChicagoJiujitsu.com. I have a blog also called JujitsuForLife.com. So hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and look forward to get to know you.
And if you haven't already, be sure to check out Adam's instructional, available on Budovideos.com. It's called Basically Escaping Side Control. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, brother.